the weekend. It's Simon.
I just need a little bit more time because I'm taking a photo of a very traditional Vietnamese serving here, brought in by one of our three bloggers, Melinda Tar, but also joining us in the studio, Thung No and Oni Oost. How are you? Welcome to Weekends.
Good day, Simon.
Now, let's go first of all, Thung, to this Cabra crawl. It's been an idea and a passion of yours for a little while. So how did it come about?
Well, Simon, you know, I was on the council back then in 1999 for 9 long years, and back then, Cabra had a really troubled history. And I know that, you know, the heart and the love of the people out there in the community. And, you know, we worked really hard to actually make the police and the government take sort of better care of Cabra until now. You know, I think since early 2000s, Cabra has really changed. It's really improved. And, you know, public opinion's always a little bit behind reality. So I wanted to really do something that kind of really show the rest of Sydney what Cabra is like now. And I suppose the other thing that really got to me was I wrote a feature for Feast, SBS Feast magazine, end of last year, and I got to meet the people behind the food, you know, in the restaurant.
Because each person there not only has a phenomenal story, but getting back to the food, each person has a specialty dish, don't they? And
Yes.
that's what you wanted to show the food bloggers.
Yes. And, you know, I wanted to show the food bloggers, you know, the usual things that people know about, you know, the pho and the pork rolls. But more importantly, you've mentioned before this fish curry dish with a special, cracker.
The sesame crackers.
Sesame cracker that you just don't get anywhere else.
I'll tweet a photo of that from @702Sydney. But sitting alongside of you, how many bloggers came along on the day? I think there was 6 bloggers.
Yes, plus you and another blogger. So it's 8 people.
So 8 people came along, and a diversity of bloggers had to win, and they were drawn out of a hat.
Yes, because look, I wanted to take 6 to 8 bloggers because I wanted to be intimate, because this is an intimate thing. You're meeting intimate people sharing their signature dishes. Little did I know that we got over 40 people who entered. So I was actually going to judge, but I thought there's no way I can judge. Looking at the flood of comments that came through, and everyone, you would give it to everybody. So in the end, it had to be the quick and dirty thing of just a random draw.
Well, one of the 2 people that was in that random draw is Melinda Tar. Now, Melinda, you have an incredible understanding of Vietnamese food. I was blown away. You know your Vietnamese food. How does somebody from Maltese background have such a good understanding of the other E's, Vietnamese?
Yes, well, I was very fortunate enough to meet my husband and all of his family, obviously from Vietnam. So my mother-in-law and father-in-law have actually taught me a lot. And have also tasted a lot, so it's been quite handy, actually.
In fact, through your Pickled Kumquat blog, we saw the most beautiful-looking fur, or did you tweet a beautiful-looking fur that your mother-in-law made only a couple of days ago?
Yes, last night, actually. My mother-in-law made pho, and traditionally on a Saturday night we all get together, and it's always traditional Vietnamese food. Always very yummy and always very full. So
now the pho we went to try was the first stop almost on the tour, but a variety of places in Cabra do the pho. Did you have a favourite in Cabra?
I did like pho Viet, but I also loved the bun sao that was tasted. Oh, it's just I've grown a real passion for Vietnamese food, actually. So
we're going to find out some of the dishes that you particularly liked. But the other person joining us, and also on the tour, Oni Oost, originally from far north Queensland, but your blog, Fork It, did not start in Australia, did it?
No, I was lucky enough to travel for a 6-month period in Italy about 2 years ago and started my blog whilst travelling there. Just was astounded by how in love with food I was, and how being in Italy for 6 months really kind of made me realise that always thinking about my next meal wasn't necessarily because I just have a very big appetite. Perhaps food is one of the great passions in my life. So I started writing about it.
Is there a central theme to Fork It? Would I be looking at a particular area, or do you tend to be a very broad church in your approach to food?
It's a pretty broad church. It started off with a lot of, Sicilian and Italian classics, because that's where I was and that's what was influencing me. But now I love Asian food. I love quite healthy cooking. I love to eat out and review places, so it's kind of a mixed bag.
Melinda had this exposure to the Vietnamese cuisine? Were you a relative newcomer? What was your prior experience to the Cabra Crawl?
I would say I could sum up my knowledge of Cabra in 4 words: little fish and good food. And I must say the little fish reference, I can say, must definitely be historical, because my feeling after being on the Cabra pub crawl is... food crawl, rather. That's
Wait a minute.
Freudian slip there. Food crawl is that it's a fantastic community out there. I really believe that food creates community, and you can see that people love food, specialise in their particular dish or their particular few ingredients, and that really comes across in all of their cooking.
You've brought in a couple or one particular plate here, which I've already tweeted the photo, which, apart from pho, is perhaps the second best known Vietnamese dish. We had this at a restaurant where both mum and daughter were there, but what struck me tongue was not just at that restaurant, but be it the hot bread shop, be it the pho, be it the coffee shop we went to, everybody in the community going out of their way just to make people really welcome.
Yeah, and if you look at the context of the community being refugee migrants, so you think that community be quite shy, quite withdrawn. But as everyone I think saw on the Cabra Crawl, there's a real pride in the community that I think Melinda was saying people wanted to kind of actually really show their wares. And you know that dish that you refer to, goi kung, or as we call it Vietnamese in English, Vietnamese fresh rolls, that is the sort of dish which has now jumped across many different cultures. If you go to the Koreans now love these fresh rolls, and in fact they make their own version of it. But lest my Korean friends will hate me now, but I do caution, because they make it with lettuce, and you're not meant to put lettuce in your fresh rolls.
Oh, really? So what is... Well, the only way we can find out what's in it, I'm going to pick one up now and eat it. You can see the very vibrant orange of the prawns in there. What else is going to be inside here?
Yes, and you need to see the shallots poking through. And the reason you need to see the prawns is you need to see how fresh and how vibrant the prawns are. And of course, inside vermicelli and pork. But importantly, of course, you can say that you can have these things in the roll, but it's a balance of them that actually makes them really nice. And the thing, Simon, you know about this, is I think it's always the sauce too that makes a big difference.
That's what's making my mouth salivate. That is why I've cut it in half, because, of course, in Western culture it's very uncool to double dip. So you can double dip if you cut it in half first, and then you can dip the undipped piece. What was one of your highlights?
I do love these Vietnamese rolls. I really love the use of a lot of very fresh herbs in Vietnamese food. I think that I've come away realising that that's one of the staples, is that you've got to have fresh coriander or fresh basil, or Simon's eating away over here.
It's absolutely beautiful.
But by far my favourite dish of the day was a fish curry whose name I will mispronounce. I think Ca Duc Ban Trung, which I'm getting there. And that was essentially a thick fish curry that was served with black sesame encrusted fried rice paper. And the fish curry, I'm likening it to a much fresher massaman curry. You could really taste the nuts in it, lots of tiny diced onion pieces, shrimp paste to give it that bit of acidity. It was by far the best curry I've ever had, and I'll spend the rest of my life trying to recreate it, I think.
On 702 ABC Sydney, the bloggers reflecting on a wander through Cabra. We have in the studio Forkit, we have Noodlies, but also the pickled kumquat. From your perspective, was the fish dish, I think, was a universal favourite, but also that fantastic egg pancake. I tried to make it as an omelette and it didn't work. You were spotting coconut juice in there and all these other things, Melinda.
Yes, the bun sao. My mother-in-law makes it, and a few weeks ago, my husband and I actually made it, and I do have the recipe on my blog. But yeah, the mung beans in there, also the egg, the coconut juice, it just everything together just tasted amazing. But I really did actually enjoy the sugarcane and kumquat juice. That was a really good spot, and I really enjoyed that one actually. Something I'd never tasted before.
Tongue, as we wander through Cabramatta, you will see various shops that have this old grind, which you would have seen in North Queensland at the markets there where they made sugarcane juice. But they add little flavours to it by putting whole kumquats into the sugarcane. These are wonderful, aren't they?
Yeah, and it's to cut the sweetness. And it's interesting, I always, when I do the food tour, I always make sure we have sugarcane because everyone's tired by it all. By the time we go halfway through and we're eating a lot, it kind of gives you an instant lift.
It was a great energy boost,
Yeah.
I can tell you.
And
Yes.
without trying to be, Vietnam tourism ambassador, but that's the sort of stuff that you would drink when you're actually in Vietnam. So it's kind of bring back the memories of those who have been to Vietnam.
Oh, look, it was pretty awesome. The was it lime, lemon, and lemongrass drink as well. Ice Slurpee.
The crush, yes.
Yeah. Look, it's actually frustrating for those listening who are going, this sounds fantastic. On Noodlies, but also on Fork It and also on Pickled Kumquat, as well as the other blogs, which were Ramen Ralph from Across the Kitchen Table, Adobo Down Under, and... what's Daniel's site?
Nomo Nashi.
Nanika Nominashu.
Yes.
You can find out tips of places to go to. But I'm thinking, Tongue, if we can do this for bloggers, or you can do this for bloggers, is there any impediment for you to do it for 6702 listeners?
Well, funny you should say that. I was picking this food up from Mrs. Bak New from Bo Trung this morning to bring it in.
Wow.
And she was saying, will we see Simon? Will we see any of his listeners? So it's up to you now, Simon.
We might try and do that because I think it'd be fantastic to take a group of listeners on. Stay listening to 702 for the over the next couple of weeks, and we'll try and get you along to take. What's this other dish down here?
Well, she particularly, Mrs. Bagnew, really wanted you to try this. Normally, you have, it's goi, which is a Vietnamese salad, but you have it with prawn and pork belly. This one is different. She uses, rather than mango, she uses green apple, and the other thing she uses is star fruit to give it that zing and the tang. And instead of the prawns and the pork, she's used beef, which is the specialty of Bo Trung.
And I've gone ahead and sprinkled some finger lime all over it for a little citrus garnish as well. To find out more, people can go to Fork It. They can also go to the Pickled Kumquat or, of course, Noodlies.com, which are all blogs that went on the Cabra call. Stay listening to 702 Weekends, and we're going to put together a Cabra food crawl for the 702 listeners. But for joining us on a Sunday morning, thank you very much to Tung No, Melinda Tar, and Oni Ost. Thank you.
Thank you very much.